All right, we'll give it one more minute, let any stragglers out in the hall. I thought we might be bursting at the seams in here today with my big encouragement to have everybody be here to hear this important information. And like Oprah, we're giving away a free car to everybody who's here today. So. All right. Well, good afternoon, officially, everybody, and welcome to the May 2026 edition of the management meeting. And I'm really happy to see all of you here that did come today. We have a management meeting that is jam-packed with a lot of important information. And so I just ask you to kind of bear with us as we really share a lot of info with you today. It's very sunny and nice outside, so I would imagine that everybody that's not here is outside enjoying this beautiful weather somewhere. So thanks for sacrificing and being here to listen to us. But first we're going to have Jake come up, and he is going to tell us about fire emergency procedures and protocols and those sorts of things, and LD is joining him. And then after Jake, we're going to go right into Anthony from Belay Software, and he's got quite a bit of information to share, and then I'll wrap things up later. Thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, not good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm disappointed because a few of the people I wanted to be here to go over this with aren't here. Isn't that just how it works? Oh, well. All right, so the reason LaDamia and I wanted to talk to you today is just kind of go over our recent fire episode and kind of go over what occurred a little bit without getting into too much detail, because I already did that once, and kind of give you updates about different things that we want you to know and always remember, and things that we've changed on our end to manage some of these situations in a different way. So I just want to give everybody confidence that most things worked. A few things didn't. So some of the lessons we learned as a management team is some of our staff response improvements that we're implementing. So one of the things that we learned is we did a massive update on all of our one-call messaging that I recorded for you last year for active shooter, for fire, for all that stuff. However, we learned from our one-call partner OnSolve Now that those alerts have to be deleted and completely re-entered for all saves to change. So unfortunately, when we got the new advisement from the fire chief of City of Edina, we did correct all of the communication to reflect evacuate. However, the text part did not save properly because the whole alert has to be deleted, and that's why you got two conflicting messages that day. So that has been corrected. I do apologize for that. I was not aware that you had to delete the whole alert and start over, but that's what we've done, and we've updated all those alerts. I think most of you know what's happening on May 29th, right? We're sending a test alert to make sure it all goes through, and we're sending the test all clear. So mark your calendar. Those of you who are not in the room, those of you who are in the room, May 29th, you are going to get a mock evacuation alert and a mock all clear. So keep that on your calendar, 1 p.m. So right after lunch. Give you a little bit of indigestion in the afternoon. Just joking. Another thing that we've done is we've added a manager on duty phone, the red phone, as Mitch recommended, and we are going to have a manager carry this every single day for a week's time and then turn it over to another manager to help manage these situations if they happen after hours. So during the PM security shift as well as the nightly shift, they will have access to call this phone, work with the manager on duty for that week to help get communication out effectively and to manage the situation as that person is coming to the property to help deal with it. So that's another thing that we have changed. And we also have some new training guidelines that I have LaDamian talk about as far as evacuating smoke. So do you want to comment on that really quick?
Let me get this out first. So basically, for the pole for emergency, we just want to make sure that this is talking about the pole core emergency. Make sure you don't pull it if you don't have a medical emergency. So I do want to make that clear. You're only pulling the pole core for a medical emergency. So that way it doesn't delay the emergency response.
And to give reasons why he's saying that is during our response a couple weeks ago to the smoke alarm on first floor, we received a medical response from a unit where the person was pulling their pull cords because they thought they had to do that during the event of a building fire alarm. So just to state that, please remember that those cords are for more medical emergencies or those kind of things. Try not to pull them when the whole building system's going off, because then we kind of have to divert our attention to two separate things, and that can be kind of complicated when we have to answer to the answering service that calls, to the fire department, to police. So just when the building fire alarm goes off, as long as you're not having a medical emergency for real, just please do not pull the pull cords.
Another thing is make sure the front door, the main door, do not get open. That door should be closed, especially for a in-unit smoke alarm that's caused by cooking. Instead, open your windows, turn on the ventilation system.
And we have equipment that we can help evacuate smoke very quickly from your unit. So if there is a large fire, obviously we want you to open the door and get out. But if it's just a cooking fire, just call us so we can evacuate the smoke. We can help you clear the unit so we don't have to alert the entire building, which is what happened that day. It was just a simple, some things got really, really burnt. That was all that it was. So, and then we're going to hit a little bit on evacuate and shelter in place, but we're going to go over two things you want to always remember. I want everybody to remember this. If you remember anything I say, even if all staff are not present, not all staff are present due to injury, emergency management, or death. Yes, I'm not trying to over dramatize. I'm just saying emergency personnel, the building's fire, life safety equipment, and our answering service will always work and will always manage the emergency. So if we all get hurt or something terrible happens to us as staff trying to manage an emergency situation, the answering service, our fire life safety equipment, and the fire department or police will have enough information from the systems that we have to manage the emergency if something were to happen to us. I just want to give you guys the confidence that there's a lot of investment of equipment and different things to monitor your property where we know where emergencies are, and other parties that are relevant to helping manage those emergencies, they get that information as well. Does that make sense? So just always remember that there is more than just us. There's other lines of defense, for lack of a better word, to manage these emergencies. And then another thing I want you to remember, the other thing I really want you to remember, while there are recommended actions to take, and there are things that emergency personnel recommend, evacuate or run, hide, and fight, active shooter, right? Those are commonplace. Members always have the option as an adult with agency and independence to make their decision always. So, the City of Edina Fire Chief wants you guys to evacuate in the event of a fire or the fire alarm going off. However, I've heard many members, and I've received many emails telling me that there is no way, no how, and you know where the hot place that they're going to walk down the stairs or go down the elevator in the event of a fire. They're staying in their house. That is your choice. I'm not telling you you have to leave. The advisement, though, from the City of Edina Fire Chief is to evacuate. But at the end of the day, everybody here can make their own choice. Does that make sense? Because I think that's been something that's kind of been a hotly debated thing since they came. And I've heard little bit of stubbornness and consternation. And again, you guys can do what you want to do. It's your home. It's your decision to make. It's your life. But we just are advising you based on the advice we've received to evacuate. The choice is yours. Okay, things I want to dispel because I've gotten a lot of feedback, and so has LaDamian. We were ready, and we'll continue to be working to be more ready for threats to our members. Was it perfect? No. Are there things we need to improve? Yes. But we were ready to a large degree to deal with the situation. Another thing I want to dispel, members did not behave incorrectly. Even calling down was not incorrect. Is it something we would ask you not to do? Yes, because it does jam us up from being able to make calls. But you didn't do anything wrong. You're just calling down to try to get information. So members did not do anything incorrectly, staying in their unit, staying in a common hallway, not evacuating, calling down. None of that's incorrect. It's your choice of what you want to do. And I think the last thing is, we know where the emergency or issue is every time, including emergency personnel. If we don't get your call, we're going to figure out where the issues are. During that day, we knew where to go for both the medical, that wasn't a medical, and we knew where the smoke was. So we don't necessarily need a call from you to know where to go. We know where to go. I just want to kind of dispel that we have to get a call from you to know where to go. We don't need that. We know where to go. LaDamian, you want to add on to that? Like this, how the system tells you?
Any questions on that? No. Jake explained it perfectly. We do have an annunciator that tells us exactly where to go. And in terms of POCOR or smoke in unit, we do get that alarm as well. So we know exactly what to do, and that's how we respond. I want to be really clear. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, and the thing with that day, it was really difficult because it was on first floor, so there's kind of that natural like suction out because of the patio door, and they had opened that. So it created this big vent that really pushed that smoke out. I mean, we could smell it and see it all the way in the common area. So it really pushed it out, but we have equipment on other floors where you don't have that much of a suction to push it out the window with some ventilation equipment that we have. And so just if you do have smoke, try not to open the door if you can help it, and let us know so we can run that equipment up to your unit to vent it out. We want to continue to improve. Emergencies will continue to happen here. Perfection is never going to be attained. However, our response continues to get better, and we're committed to always responding, review how we responded, and improve our response over time. And I want to thank LaDamian for working very hard after that incident to work through different opportunities to improve. I want to thank Mitch and Michael for helping with different improvements and different acknowledgments for that specific case so we can do better on the next one. And I'm going to open it up for questions, but we're only going to take very few questions because Anthony has a lot of things to talk about, and so does Mitch. So, Barb, there's a microphone coming to you.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what both Jake and LaDamian were saying. When I was a part of that event on the 29th and the alarms were going off and members were coming to me saying, should I go out of the building? Should I evacuate? Is this real? I just want to make it clear, if the alarms are going off, it's real. If the alarms are going off, it's our advice, our guidance, it's the guidance from the police, from the fire department to evacuate. You know that if you can't, you should shelter in place and call 911 so they know where you're at. And as Jake said, it is your decision whether or not to evacuate. But if you hear the alarms going off, don't come to a staff member and ask, is this real? Don't come to a staff member and say, should I evacuate? Yes, you should. We don't want it to be confusing every time there's an alarm and you think, well, is it real this time or is it not real this time? If the alarm's going off, evacuate.
Evacuate first, ask question later.
Yes. Can you take the microphone to Barb so we can see what her question is?
Thank you, Jake. I saw it in writing, and I heard you say, by calling the desk, you were not incorrect. I question that because you've made it really clear. Please do not call the desk.
Yes, but I'm saying that in the sense that people shouldn't feel bad about it like they've been made to feel by other members. And I don't want people to feel that they're incorrect in that thinking of wanting to call and find out. We're asking you if you can't, but you're not doing anything bad or you should be chastised for calling. That's my intention to say that, because a lot of people have communicated to me both verbally and through email that they have been made to feel bad because they're one of the people that called. I don't want anybody to feel bad because you called. Does that make sense? It is not a double message. We're asking people to not call, but nobody did anything wrong by calling. They shouldn't feel bad about it and sending me emails that their neighbors have made them feel bad about calling. No one should feel bad about calling. Does that make sense? Okay. I think there's one person that's confused, but the rest of everybody gets it. Okay.
Now, I heard you say to evacuate, take the stairs or the elevator. I thought if the alarm went off, you weren't supposed to use the elevator.
Say what? I don't think we said use the elevator,
Yeah,
to my
you did.
knowledge. We did? Who said that? Me. I said to use the elevator. And the communication or as advisement? Yes, that's what people have been telling me, that they're not going to use the stairs, they're not going to use the elevator, they're going to stay. I'm not telling you to use the elevator. I'm telling you to evacuate through the staircase. I'm telling you what members have called and told me. So let's revisit that really quick, because that's now another point of confusion. I received emails and phone calls from members telling me that they will not evacuate the building via stairs or an elevator during a fire alarm, that they're going to continue to shelter in place. I'm saying that you should evacuate using the stairs, and if you don't want to, everyone has their own independence and agency, you don't have to. My advisement is to leave the building via a stairwell. Members have called me and told me that they're not going to leave. That's your choice. Is that a little bit more clear? Okay. Any other questions?
Jacob.
Marlene has a question.
I just want to clarify. You have a fire in your kitchen. You're not supposed to pull the cord because that's only for medical emergencies.
If you can, yeah.
So you just use the telephone to call downstairs, or not, or should we call 911?
You should call downstairs if it's just a little kitchen fire and there's smoke coming out and it's really building up. Let us know so we can try to vent it out so it doesn't go in the hallway and alert the whole building. If something is literally on fire and it's out of control, then you need to call 911 or evacuate your unit and alert the fire, do the pull thing on the wall. Does that make sense? So it's like if it's just
Well, you
really
said
smoky.
The cord is only medical.
Yes. If it's really smoky, call us so we can help vent it out with our smoke equipment. If it's an active fire, you should leave and pull the fire release on the wall. The pull station. In the hallway.
Any more questions?
We're going to take 2 more questions and be done. Any more questions? Going. Barb, no more questions? Okay. Thank you so much for listening. We just wanted to update you on some of the things that we've changed, make it a little bit more clear, even though maybe some of that wasn't clear on reflection. So thank you so much for your time.
All right, good afternoon again. Thank you, Jake and LaDamian. I'm going to ask Anthony, as I'm introducing him, to come up and get his laptop set up for his presentation here. Next on deck here, we have Anthony Sather from Belay Software. What do you need, Anthony?
Get my computer onto that screen.
Right here. And I think probably all of you remember Anthony from, am I giving you fits over there with the camera, Julie, moving around? I think all or most of you have met Anthony before last year when he was in every single unit here going through and doing the inventory of cooperative-owned assets in your unit. So again, cooperative-owned assets are everything attached to the ceiling, the floors, the walls, appliances, flooring, countertops, cabinets, paint itself, light switches, shelving, whatever it might be. Everything that the cooperative owns, he was in taking an inventory. Really large job. It took him, I think, a couple of months just to do that. And he's going to introduce the almost final product of that. And I say almost because all of the inventories were completed, but there will need to be some additional work with that, and he's going to introduce that to you. So welcome, Anthony, and we're certainly going to have a time of questions after this.
Can you hear me now? Oh, my mic is working again. Okay, I was cut off for a while. All right, couple things. My name is Anthony. I'm from a company called Belay Software. I came through your building about a year ago and walked through all the units, as Mitch said, and did an inventory. During that time, some things have changed. Some processes have been put in place, some revisions have been made. So what we need to do is, last night I handed out the inventory for everybody but the 9th floor. I don't know what happened to the 9th floor, but I'm going to get the 9th floor out to everybody, so don't worry about if you're on floor 9 that you didn't get a sheet. But what we do as a company is we have a software product, and your building uses that software product. You might be familiar with it already. It currently does your work order system if you've ever submitted a work order online. It also does the room reservation system in the calendar if you've ever looked at the guest room calendar to see what's going on and what's available. For you guys, it also does your accounting and monthly statements. That's relatively new to you. That changed about this time last year. If you remember that your monthly billing statement changed to a new system. It does a bunch of other things for the back office, things you're not aware of. But another module it has is the inventory module, the unit inventory module. And that's what we're talking about today. I'm a little nervous right now, so I keep going back to my notes like a security blanket and stuff like that. I thought I was initially just going to be speaking to a camera. This would be pre-recorded, and it would be given out to you guys. And then Mitch threw me under the bus the other day and said I'd be speaking live. So I've got butterflies in my stomach right now, but I'm going to work my way through this. All right. So I want to go a little bit more in depth about the process, about the unit inventory process. There are 4 phases to the unit inventory process. Phase number 1 is me going through and collecting all the inventory items for your unit. That's phase 1. In between phase 1 and phase 2, some other priorities came up for the building that were more time sensitive and needed to be addressed first before the inventory system could be completed, as well as some meetings had to happen between the staff, the committees, and the board of directors to make sure what the standards were going to be going forward. So we had to take a pause, and now we're back to finish the rest of the project. So we've completed phase 1. Because there was such a large gap in between phase 1 and phase 2, all of us are most likely going to meet again one more time and review the document together and make sure it's up to date and accurate to the best of your knowledge, as well as what we can find in all the records. So let me see where I'm at here. So phase 2 and phase 3 we're going to do together this summer. We're going to lump these 2 phases together. And that will be reviewing your record with you, going through all the rest of the records downstairs, and trying to date as much of the items as we can possibly find in the current record system downstairs in the file cabinets. So maybe we'll find a slip of paper for a ceiling fan that you added to your unit. If we do, and it's got a date on the receipt, we'll add that on there. We're going to try to date absolutely everything we can. But from here going forward, everything will be dated. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 members from now in the units, everything will have an installation date. Everybody will know exactly how old everything is. That does multiple things for your maintenance team, you as a owner, as well as when your unit goes up for sale. It explains a lot. So that's phase 2 and phase 3. So that is a chance to review your record and make sure we have it up to date and accurate. Once all that's done, there's going to be the final phase, which is phase 4, which is where we hand off the record to the building staff. So I'll be working with you until we get it up to date and accurate as possible after phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 4, you will get your final copy and you will sign it. You will say, yes, this looks as accurate to the best of my knowledge, knowing what I know from how long you've lived here. We'll have information in there that's historical from before you lived there with some dates, but it's only talking about your tenure there in that particular unit. So that'll be phase 4. We hope to complete all of that by the end of this summer. So there's nothing else. There's no other projects in the way. There's no other reason for us to stop and not complete the rest of this. We'd have liked to have done this last year. It just didn't work out that way. So probably why we're going to end up having one more minor meeting between all of you. So Mitch said I walked through every building, every unit in the building. I did not walk through every unit in the building. There are a few units that were in turnover status that I could not go through, and there were a couple people I could not get a hold of and make it work for. We're going to take care of those people now. But also this was done last year. People have moved in and moved out since then and done changes. So if you don't know who I am, that's because you're probably a new member here and you haven't seen me yet. But I went through every unit, through all the rooms, and cataloged everything about that unit. I do have a couple units that weren't handed out, or you only see your appliances only, and you don't see the rest of your items. A couple of them, I think, were because they were double units and they were a little confusing for the staff to upload. And a couple others just got jumbled up, but I have all that paperwork still. We'll just talk about that when you meet with me. So, you see where we're at here. Phase 2, phase 3. So meeting with me, scheduling a follow-up meeting with me is, and then the new members, like I said, we'll go through and walk through the unit together. You'll get to meet me, and we'll probably do all phases of your unit inventory right there on the spot that day. We'll do phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. We're going to go ahead and do the walkthrough. Then we're going to go ahead and print it out and give it to you. And then we're going to have a little chat about it and make sure it's up to date to the best of your knowledge. So those people won't have to wait as long. So how do we get to phase 2 and phase 3 right now? I have been scheduled to be here for 6 different days throughout the next 2 months. And those days are, and you do not have to write this down because Mitch is going to have these posted, displayed, or emailed out by this Friday. But I'm going to be here Tuesday, May 19th from 1 to 3, and I believe it's this room. This is the CAC room. Friday, May 22nd from 1 to 3 in here. Friday, May 29th. That's a couple Fridays. There's no 3-day weekends for me. From 1 to 3 here. So they're all from 1 to 3. Monday, June 1st, 1 to 3. Tuesday, June 9th, 1 to 3. Thursday, June 11th, 1 to 3. When I'm here in the CAC room, it's like the DMV. You just come in and you walk in freely and speak to me. If I'm talking to somebody, you just kind of hang out and wait, and you'll be next in line. At that time, you can pretty much have any conversation you want with me about your unit, about inventory. You can come set up an appointment with me to come meet you in your unit and go over some things that you have questions on. But I will have a computer with me, and if you only have a couple small changes or a couple questions to make about your unit, I will make all of those on the spot right there. If you have more than, let's say, 4 or 5 items that need to be updated or corrected, that might be something we might want to go up and look in the unit again about. So that's how that schedule is going to work. Now, let's say you can't come during any of those times to make a follow-up appointment with me. One, you don't have to make a follow-up appointment. If you're happy with the unit the way it is and you don't want anything changed, you're good to go. Just let Holly in the front office know that, because Holly is going to have my schedule when I am not here in the CAC. So if you want to book an appointment with me, you just go down and talk to Holly. She's going to have the schedule, and the schedule is going to be something like this. Monday, let's pick a day. Thursday, June 11th, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'll have 6 30-minute slots open, and you can come sign up for those. Saturday, the 13th, I might be available from noon to 5 p.m., and you can come sign up for any one of those slots. So I'm going to have a lot of slots open, more than enough for everybody in the building to accommodate your schedule. So I will work within whatever is most flexible for you if I need to come back to your unit and do more than a few updates. Let's see here. Once you sign your sheet, then and we both agree that it's up to date and accurate as possible, it will be turned over to the building. The building will handle all updates from there on out. So for new members, Barb will be updating the records, and I will be working with her initially on those. But once you're already a member here and you make a change or modification to your unit, let's say you get a new refrigerator. Let's say you have a ceiling fan put in. Let's say you do something to your unit. The maintenance staff will give you a new printout with that new information on it. If they don't within 3 business days, ask them, hey, I had a modification done to my unit. Can I get my my updated unit record? We want to make sure from here going out, all the records are updated as accurately as possible, which is why we're giving you a copy and you have insight into the record keeping management for your unit from here going forward. So you're in charge to make sure that your stuff stays updated and accurate. Let me look at my notes here real quick and see if I missed anything, and then we'll open it up for questions. Process, yes. Board of Directors, summer. I think that's it. I think that's it in a summary, but just to recap.
Were you going to show anything on the screen, Anthony?
Oh, hey, why don't I walk through a unit? Like I said, I'm nervous. I'm terribly nervous. I may look like I'm calm. I am not.
You're smooth as silk up there.
Well, my heart, if you put an EKG on me or a heart monitor, it'd be going about 200 beats a minute. Okay. Before we open it up for questions and answers, let me just, I've pulled an example of a unit here up on a screen, and let me just kind of explain how this works. This is landscape. I gave your units to you in portrait mode. It displays a little bit better in landscape mode. It's just easier to read and easier to follow along. But starting at the very top, there's a couple spaces with no location. That's because it spans multiple rooms. So if I look at it, I see it's flooring carpet. There's no serial number for it. And I see that in this unit, whichever unit number it is carpet in the entryway, hallway, dining room, living room, and bedroom number 1. And that is standard carpet. There will be a date added to that carpet while we're going through the records. Maybe it's 4 years old, maybe it's 5 years old. but that date will get on there. The reason you have your records now is because we want to make sure everything is on there. We don't have to have all the dates, but we just want to make sure we're not missing anything. And what needs to be on there is basically what, if you were to move to a different unit or move in with your kids or go to assisted living, what would pretty much stay at the unit? What you added to the unit. Maybe you added 3 grab bars into the shower. Maybe you added some extra towel bars. Maybe you added a ceiling fan. Maybe you did all these upgrades to your unit. We want to have everything on this list is basically everything that would stay in the unit if you left the unit. Now, if you put a family heirloom chandelier in there and you think you're going to take that with you, because it's there in place now, it should be on the sheet. Here's the reality of it. If you move away and go to assisted living, and it's up to your kids to come through and take care of your unit, you think they're going to take down that chandelier and bring it home and hold on to it for 50 years? They're not. They're going to leave it there, and the next member is going to have to decide whether or not they want to leave that chandelier there or it doesn't work for them and they need that switched out to something else. So think of it, what would stay there? I mean, obviously you're taking your paint, your pictures and stuff off the wall, but for fixtures and stuff like that, make sure those are on there. Even if you do plan on switching those out when you leave, it's time and place. It's if it's there right now. So the next item I see, paint, white, entire unit unless noted, standard. So same thing there. We're going to mark down the last time it was painted. Most likely it was when you moved in. But these are just these 2 areas. There can be different paint in different rooms because it says entire unit unless noted. And bathrooms are going to not have carpet. And the kitchen is probably going to have vinyl sheet or LVP or something like that. So let's go down and summarize. And it's just this first page. Bathroom, cabinet and door hardware. Bathroom, 1 grab bar, standard. And that means that's the grab bar that's in the shower or above the bathtub area. 1 grab bar is standard. Anything more than that is considered an upgrade. Heat lamp and switch, those are standard. Light fixture, their light fixture in their bathroom is upgraded. They have a mirror, and that mirror is a beveled mirror. That is considered an upgraded mirror. And all the items that are considered an upgrade and all the items that are considered standard, we will go over when we're talking and meeting together. After that, if you want access to that document, that will be posted and available to all the members. But initially, I will be able to go over and discuss that with you, because if it's just a mirror and it's a mirror only, the standard mirror is just a regular flat mirror mounted. It's not a beveled mirror. It's not a mirror with a wooden picture frame. It's not a lighted mirror. It's not anything else. All of those items would be considered an upgraded mirror. But why are we doing this? Why are we classifying things that are upgraded? Why are we classifying things that are betterments? A couple different reasons. One of the main reasons is to determine responsibility for the repair and maintenance of that item. But another reason is this, is because we are in a lot of properties, and what happens is I move into a property that has all these great things. I moved into a unit that's totally decked out, and I go into there and it's got this super fancy waterfall shower head, and I'm loving it and it's great, and it stops working 2 months down the road. So I call up maintenance. Hey, my shower head stopped working. Can you come put in a new one? And the maintenance team is going to be like, sure can, we'll take care of that. And they put in this small little round shower. Or, I have, this awesome, great beveled mirror, oval in a gold gilt frame, and it cracks. And I say, can I get a new mirror? They say, sure can, and they just put this flat mirror on there. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's not what I had. And that is because the building's responsibility is to replace upgraded items with standard items. If you want another upgraded item, that is, you have to pitch in the extra to get that fancy item. Same thing with dimmer switches. I love dimmer switches. They're great. But when they burn out or they stop working, the building is just going to throw a toggle switch in there, an on-off switch, because those are the standards. The building does not replace upgraded items with upgraded items. That is the individual member's choice. So that's why we have to clarify what in your unit is standard and what is upgrade. Let's see here. What else is upgraded in here? Toilet. Let's see. Where's their toilet? Well, this one is standard. So this is a toilet. This is a low-rise toilet. I don't know if you know the difference between a high-rise and a low-rise toilet. A low-rise toilet is low. Like, man, I haven't seen one in a long time. And I saw one and I was like, I might need a grab bar to get up off that thing. It's low. But interestingly enough, though, this unit still has one. But you don't know this yet. But the new standard, and maybe you do know it, the new standard is a high-rise toilet. So if this toilet were to crack or break or something were to happen to it, it's a standard item. The building is going to replace it with another standard, but the new standard now is a high-rise. That does not mean go break your toilet, go kick it, don't damage it, don't, because I want the new upgraded, I want the new standard. So don't go out there and like beat on anything. Let's see. This unit has tile and grout in the bathroom. It's the yellow accented 1978 flooring. I've seen quite a few of the original flooring. A lot of it still looks great. A lot of it is held up pretty good. I like the green the best. I like the red the least. So that's just a summary. I want to open it up for, I could talk all day about this now that the butterflies are starting to go away and I'm kind of getting into it. But, you know, that's kind of how you want to look at your sheet. And then you and I can go over it again and talk about it and make sure everything is there and nothing is missing. I would love to see all of you again. I hope your record is not fine and you just sign off on it and say it's good to go, because it's been a long time since I saw all of you, and pretty much 99% of you, I had a blast going into your unit. There was a couple people, they just ignore me like I didn't exist when I was walking through the unit, and they were watching their TV show or doing whatever it is they were doing. But the rest of you were great, and I would like to see all of you again and make sure everything is updated on your unit. So that's how you kind of look at this sheet. You've got some instructions with how to look at it, and you've got some definitions on there. I'm about to open it up for questions, but Mitch is running up here, getting ready to intercept me and probably correct some things I didn't say.
I'm not. I'm just, I'm watching the clock, and we want to take time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes for some questions, because I do need a little bit. He's getting a little too comfortable up here. It's making me nervous, because I have some updates to go through with you. But time for questions?
Yeah, let's do questions, answers.
Just getting back to the family heirloom chandeliers.
Yes, yes.
Because I know there are some in the building.
There are many.
Should the resident of that unit indicate that this is a family heirloom and somebody probably will come and want to take it? How do they preserve that family heirloom in case you have a daughter-in-law like mine who loves things like that?
And let me answer that.
Yep,
If
yep.
anybody has that situation, please come to talk to me or Barb, and we will work through that with you.
Sounds like they'll document that and put that in your file.
Who else has a question? Have a big question.
So my report was just perfect, except the kitchen refrigerator was a steel instead of a bisque.
Stainless steel instead of bisque.
Do
So
I still need to come down and meet with you?
I would like you to.
Oh,
You do not have to. I would like you to come down with you. I'd like to sit for 5 minutes and just look at your unit real quick and make sure everything is. There are going to be changes to your sheet. Mitch and I and the board of directors and the committees added some words in there. And when we defined these words, the word was betterment. And we we realized what we needed to do. We initially only applied it to microwaves. We applied the word betterment to microwaves because there is no standard microwave. So all microwaves are a betterment. But if you think about it, no light fixtures in the bedrooms were standard. It's all outlets and lamps, right? So every light switch with a ceiling fan or a light added into a bedroom or into another area, those are all going to be reclassified. Right now, they probably say upgrade. Those are going to be reclassified to the word betterment. So as we've gone through and looked at this, we are going to be changing everybody's sheet a little bit, no matter what. Even if it's just the one item, we're going to make some additional changes to it. But remember, you and I, or you are going to get multiple chances to look at and review before the final one comes out. It isn't one time we went through, that's done, here you go. You're going to get more times, even after we make that change and the rest to do it, but you do not have to come down if you do not want to. You can just circle what's wrong on your sheet, just write that this is wrong, turn it into Holly, and it will be fixed.
Oh, okay. Mitch, I just have one question for you. When I moved in, I paid $500 for my raised toilet. Do I get my $500 back?
No, in fact, I knew that question was going to come up as soon as I'm over here. Anthony, don't talk.
He was
No.
trying to kick me under the table.
The high-rise toilets are now the standard, but if you still have a low-rise one, you don't automatically get a paid-for high-rise toilet. Should you still want to change when you have a low-rise, you still have to pay for that.
What is the warranty on the appliances, stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, all that stuff? If more than 10 years old, am I wrong about that? How's that work?
So you're asking about the warranty on appliances. His question was, what is the warranty on the appliances? I would say, in general, just at my house and everybody else's houses, everybody has a 90-day warranty. If you happen to get,
That's not, I've had a 10-year-old, 15-year-old dishwasher maybe. How does that, is that going to be replaced by the apartment complex, or do I have to pay a
yes,
difference?
okay, so your question is, how does my appliance get replaced? When your appliance stops working, whether it's a standard or an upgrade, it will be replaced with a standard. If you want a fancier, quieter Bosch dishwasher in this case, if you want a nicer dishwasher, you would have to pay the overage amount from what a standard is, and I'm just going to make up some numbers here. Let's say a standard dishwasher is $375, but the fancy Bosch one is $475. If you wanted that new one when yours broke, you would have to chip in the extra $100, and they would put that upgraded appliance in there if your appliance stopped working.
So there's no timeline on that?
No, there is currently, so his question is, well, what is the timeline? At what age, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, do you just pull a working appliance out and replace it with a new one? There
So
is no.
I can help with that.
Okay.
Because all of the replacement components that are in your unit, so the replacement components that are provided for by the reserve funds are your appliances, your carpet, your vinyl flooring, your countertop, your vanities, your cabinets, and I might be missing one, but I think that's all of them. All of those have what's called useful life periods. And for carpeting, it's 10 years. For the appliances, it's either 15 years or 18 years, depending on which one. If any of your replacement components are beyond the useful life period, and especially if it's not working well, especially if it looks bad, you would talk to Michael. You would preferably put in a work order for consideration of replacement of those, and somebody will come to take a look at it, have a conversation with you about whether it really needs to be replaced or not, And if it does, how does that happen? Anybody else have a question? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you, Anthony. Do you have anything else?
That's all I've got.
All right.
I hope to see all of you. I hope to see all of you, even if you only have one change. Come down and see me one of those days that I'm here in the building, or go to Holly and schedule a follow-up time for me to just come in there. Whether the blocks are going to be half-an-hour blocks just to cover any major cases, but if I'm there only for 2 or 3 minutes, that is fine with me. Take care. Enjoy.
So as Anthony said, the schedule for the times when he will be here in the CAC, which is from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock each time, those will be posted by Friday because they start next week. All right, I've got about 10 minutes here, and you are free to go. If you want to grab your laptop.
I will. I'm going to wait till the end of the rest of the show. My heart rate is still a little elevated. Not as much as it was when I first went up there.
All right. I don't have too much to go over because a lot of the things I have talked about in past management meetings, and they have not changed in the meantime. Going back to the emergency response plan, everybody has one of these, correct? Everybody has one of these? If you don't have one of these, what should you do? Go to the office. They are available in the office. What I'm going to try and remember to encourage everybody, I will try and remember to bring this every time. Please review this all the time. Keep it handy where you can see it and you remember to pull it off the wall, pull it off the refrigerator where you've got it up with a magnet, or wherever you might keep it that is visible. Take it off, read through it. The more you read through something, the more familiar you are when an emergency actually happens. Review the diagram, the map on the back. Take the time to perhaps put a mark on there where your unit is in the building. What proximity to the stairs, not the elevators, the stairs are you, so you know which way to go, the closest way to get to a stairwell. So please, LaDamian took a lot of effort to put this together. We will update it from time to time if necessary, but please take the time to honor this and review it so that when an emergency does happen, you are familiar with what to do. I just want to mention just briefly about communication. I still get from time to time feedback from members that you're getting too much communication. And I understand that. If any of you have email addresses and you get spam email, you know that you get a little bit annoyed with it sometimes. The information that we're putting out here is necessary and it's important. Not every single piece may be important to you, but we can't so finely tune everything that we put out a communication for just a few members and without doing it for a larger group of members. So we have, with our one call, we're able to do it by floor, we're able to do it by stack. Anything smaller than that, it takes a lot of effort to do a one call to smaller groups of people. The MailChimp app that you receive emails from, you hear from me through MailChimp, you hear from Jake through MailChimp. Everybody that has their email address on record with the cooperative is going to get an email. We can't more finely tune it without going through a gargantuan effort to do that. If you feel that you're getting too much communication, please don't remove your name, please don't remove your information. just be comfortable with hitting delete if you don't want to read it. But you may be deleting something that's important to know, important to read, important to be aware of. I think it was the last management meeting, and I brought to your attention a piece of concrete that fell off from the garage ceiling in the drive lane, right in the middle of the drive lane between parking stall number 70 and parking stall number 44. And we had an engineering company come in, and they did a study of that whole section of the south garage. If you had to remove your car, the ceiling above your car in those drive lanes was being evaluated. And I just wanted to read back to you the communication that we got, which is going to take some further effort by the management team. It says, there were numerous locations of spalling concrete. That means where the concrete is seen to be flaking off or coming off in bigger pieces. And if you look at the garage floors, the garage ceiling down there, you can see where those are. And it says, Encompass, that's the engineering company, recommends that the spalled or loose concrete be removed. At this time, no further repair is recommended. However, final repairs will need to be performed by a licensed contractor familiar in concrete restoration to restore locations of spalled concrete. This repair should coincide with mitigation of ongoing moisture intrusion, which is coming from above, up here, to limit the potential for future recurrence of delamination. So what we will be doing is we will be consulting with a licensed contractor that is familiar with doing that kind of work and having the spalling concrete, the delamination of pieces of concrete removed to lessen the possibility that those would come off. So more about that as that happens. Nothing has really changed with the North Plaza and Link. There's still a couple of small things to do out there, but they are not interfering with the use of the North Plaza. The lobby and balcony project is going on, and the Lab 23 committee continues to work with Mohegan Hanson. In April, the committee considered 4 bids that had been submitted and eliminated 2 of those bids. The committee and staff are visiting renovations that had been done by the 2 remaining finalists to see the quality of their work in other facilities. So that is what is currently going on with that. The boiler replacement project is fully underway. Over the past 2 weeks, boiler number 2 has been dismantled and almost entirely removed. That is quite a project to see that big jet engine size piece of equipment be torched and cut up in big, thick, heavy pieces of metal being removed down there. So as soon as heating season is done, in a couple more weeks, boiler number 1 will be dismantled and removed, and the components of the 2 new boilers will begin arriving later this month. The garage cleaning was completed the last week of April. The cleaning of the north garage went very well, but we were not satisfied. The management team, Michael and I, were not satisfied with the cleaning of the south garage. The south garage will be cleaned again in August at no additional cost to the cooperative. So you can expect when we have a date for that, I will be reminding everybody of the need to remove cars. I'm very much appreciative of the removal of cars. I think on the north garage, I don't know if we had any left there. 2 left on the north garage. We had 1 left on the south garage. Unfortunately, those members are charged $100 each. We really don't want to do that. But we want the job done correctly. We want it to be well done. The management team is sticking up for the cooperative to have quality work done. And so fortunately and unfortunately, the south garage will need to be done again, and members will have to remove their cars for the day. More to come on that. The keyless entry system, everything has been installed for the keyless entry system. That is so that you can use a fob for exterior doors and garage level entry doors into the elevators. And the only thing that we're waiting now is the delivery of the fobs by the company. And once we receive those, they will need to be programmed. Imagine programming hundreds of fobs. They need to be programmed before they are distributed to members. I will keep you up to date on that. The renovation of the new boardroom, which is the old Stop and Shop, is nearly complete. In fact, we used it this morning for a 2-hour meeting, new carpet, new paint. We have some temporary tables and chairs in there. The table and chairs that had been selected will be delivered on June 9. And the board will communicate more with the membership, particularly with committees about uses by committees and others. Annual inspection of the 6th floor will happen on Tuesday, June 2. The exterior facade repairs or replacement. I have been mentioning this for a number of months, and let me read this to you. Encompass Engineering presented their rough order of magnitude findings to the Property Committee and the Board of Directors yesterday. 3 different options were presented that include major repairs around the entire building, replacing all the brick with additional repairs to what is behind the brick, or replacing all of the brick with cement paneling around the entire building that also includes repairs that would happen behind that. All options have cost estimates in the several $million or more and will be evaluated extensively, very extensively, by the Property Committee and the Board of Directors in the weeks and months ahead. So that is the information that we have now, and the Property Committee and the Board, together with the management team, will continue to work on this issue to make the very best decision for the cooperative going forward. Any questions on any of that? I must have been very thorough. I have one remaining thing to share with you. Anybody have a guess as to what that is? Where is Judy Lillestall? She's not in here because she follows up with me every day about the air conditioning. Bless her heart. The air conditioning will be turned on tomorrow. Now, let me just say, that is not an automatic thing that just you flip a switch and it goes on and everything works perfectly. We're expecting everything, we're hoping everything works perfectly, but there are some huge systems out in the back in the North 40, down in the boiler room with the chillers, all of those sorts of things. The pumps, so many things have to work right, and when you start something up with all of those huge systems the first time, I'm not trying to build you up for a letdown here. I'm just saying they are turning it on tomorrow, and keep your fingers crossed and perhaps say a little prayer that everything works perfectly and the building should start to cool tomorrow. You can still get heat for a couple more weeks before we turn that off. Usually the heat goes off around the end of May. Thank you for coming this afternoon, for the great questions, and I'm sure you'll have a great time meeting with Anthony. Have a good afternoon, everybody.